Let's go sailing?
I'm Roberta.
And I'm Duca.
And together we are on the mission of bringing this sailboat that was neglected for over 22 years back to life.
So, don't forget to subscribe and to join us every Monday for a new episode.
As you know, we are replacing the engine of our sailboat for a brand new one. But in order to do that, there are other things we need to change. For example, the helm station. No, we are not replacing the entire helm station. Instead, we are going to modify the one we have. Our old engine panel used to be inside the boat. That means we needed to leave the helm every time we needed to start and stop the engine. To fix that, the idea is to install the new panel at the helm. We are also changing the throttle system, the compass, and adding some extras. Well, we have a lot to do, so let's get started.
A few weeks ago, we glued this with epoxy and everything was okay, right?
But now, we realize that we will need to open this. We opened a little bit already, because we need to find a way of bringing the wires from the helm to the engine room. And the way to do that, we thought would be through here, but it's too confusing to use, electrical wires and the stainless steel wire for the quadrant at the same place. We have no space, so we need to create extra holes, one or two, on the hatch to do that. And in order to do that, we need to open this up because we cannot see the metal on the bottom. Yeah. We're not gonna do this here because it's gonna be a mess. We don't like to drill holes on the metal on the cockpit or on the deck because every little piece of metal creates rust. Where are you gonna take this?
To Reginaldo's shop.
Everything we have, it's either here in the boat or on Reginaldo's shop. Yeah. We have a lot of things there and it's a good place to work, so we're gonna bring that. The neighbor just started the engine. I think that's a wrap. We can, let's get working, less talking, more working. We did it! I mean, it's a little bit loud. Our friend is talking too loud, so it's time to put him down. Hold this for me. I'm gonna put our friend down.
Huh.
That was quick.
Nice
It's
catch.
always tricky to take this small tiny drone down. I'm gonna bring the car. I'll be right back.
What's going on?
Destroying what we built.
we just need the boat.
Yeah. So just one quick explanation. The reason why we did this is because the way it was, we could not pass anything through this tube. We would need to go through here, inside of here, and we have too many things going inside here. We have a chain, we have wires, we have cables for the engine. So now we decide to open up this hole, and now we can have one pipe to pass through the cables for the engine, and this one for electrical and electronics wires. So now it's really good, and we have this neck on the bottom. That means it's gonna go all the way through the insulation, and we can have a safe way to pass the wires and cables, and in this way no water can go inside. If we just created a hole with the old cup, water would go inside. In this way, with this flange, no water at all, 100% guarantee. That's really good. Of course, the first mock-up is never the final one. The reason why we do a mock-up is to find problems. We find problems, we create a second mock-up, we fix the old problems, we find new problems. This mock-up, we really like the dimensions and the way the panel feel on the helm. But we have one big problem, that is the throttle. The throttle cable, it's really long. In order to work, you need to have space. And in order to have space, we have two choices. We either cut the pipe lower or we raise the panel. So we decide to create a second mock-up and try how would the panel look if we raise the panel. That means we would have a huge panel. So instead of doing that, we decided to change the shape of the panel, and we took both controllers from the side of the engine panel and installed them on the top of the panel. and in this way we have a higher panel but lower width. Yeah, so it's more like a square panel. Just keep in mind, this is just a mock-up. This is not the final panel. This is just so we can understand the volume of the panel. The final one is going to be made out of fiberglass, white, with round corners, you know, much better than what you're seeing right now. But this is really important because we cannot do a fiberglass panel before we are confident that we know what we want. So that's how we got to this second mock-up. We just changed a little bit the shape and we came to this solution. Looking really good. This is just a mock-up. We're just working around to create a new panel, and for that we need to overcome a few challenges. This is the main one, the throttle, because the cables are so long. The throttle cable is just amazing long, and this is also long, so check this out. That's our new problem. We need to put this farther that way, and if we do that we need to cut this off, and everything, you fix one thing, you create another problem, and you fix another problem, and you create another, and you keep going until you get to something that you are good with.
Is this the final panel?
Not really. This is the second mock-up, and that's the way to go. We do a mock-up to find mistakes and problems, and then we fix the problems on the second mock-up, and then we fix more problems and we go to the third mock-up, and we keep going until we get a solution that we are confident it's gonna work. There are things I like on this solution, there's things I don't like on this solution.
Which ones?
I mean, I like that here it's easy to touch the controllers. This is the controller for the shark plotter. By the way, we didn't talk about all the electronics. You have a hint of what we're gonna have on the boat. So I think this is a good position to work on the controllers, but I think the throttle is way too high and unprotected in case the sheet from the main cross here or something. I don't like this solution. It's a little bit too boxy, but the reason for that is because we needed to solve this problem. The cable for the throttle here is already tight fit. There's no way of putting lower than that, only if we cut this lower. And maybe that's the case, I'm not sure yet. That's a huge discussion and a huge commitment. So for now, we're gonna stay with the second mock-up and take like 1-2 days to think about that. And
we already took 2 weeks to get to this.
Yeah, it takes a long time because you need to build the whole thing and then you decide, no, that's not right. Let's build it again, and then let's build again. But it's a good thing because I really believe on the say that is
do it once, do it right.
Yeah, so we're trying our best to do it right so we don't need to redo in the future. But it's a trick situation. It's, the throttle problem is that it's just too big. But that's the throttle it comes with the engine, and we want to keep this one. And yeah, we don't like the other throttle that was here before, because the cables were going inside of this pipe, and we have here the chain for the quadrant, for the steering wheel, and the chain is huge and would always hit one the other. And now we have all these wires to go through this one, and all electronics wire that are gonna also go through this one. So this solution, we are really happy with it. This is really good. In this way, no water at all is gonna get inside of the boat, and we can have enough space for any wire we want, any cable we want. But still, we need to
Because before,
oh yeah, before you used to have this one. This one, as you can tell, is solid inside, so it was welded here, and there was no way of passing the cables and wires through this hole. And if we just open up a hole on the bottom, water would find its way inside through here, and we're gonna have water on the top of the engine. We don't want that, so that's the reason why we cut this off. We create this flange, and in this way we have a way to pass the cables and wires, and also not having water inside of the boat. And that's really good because we don't want water on the engine room, right?
yeah,
So this, check. This one, 100% check. Now, that's the problem. But it's hard to explain because, like, when you see by distance, the solution is simple. No, you just get a throttle and you put down. But you don't see the other problems as we see, because we have the mock-up in front of us, so it's...
and our cockpit's small.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Our cockpit's really small. So it's sometimes by distance it's easy to solve a problem, but you're not solving. You're just, you know, thinking you're solving, because when you have the mock-up in front of you,
Sometimes you're just creating another problem.
one solution everyone's gonna say is to use the, you know, the little
Pod.
pod. There is a pod that you can buy that you can install right here. That could be a solution, but we don't have that in Brazil to find, and if we buy in the States, it's gonna take a long time to get here. It's gonna be really, really expensive, and also we would need to create a hole in this here. This is really thick pipe, and the way the wires would go inside, I think, would be really tricky and risky to do that. We might do and not work. For example, here, I don't know if you can tell, but
It's already touching there.
it's already touching there. And when you move this cable, it moves this way also. So if we stay with this solution, we also need to cut this a little bit lower to have space for this to work this way. Yeah, problems, but not for today. Enough.
No.
Enough, Duque, enough is enough.
We see you guys next week.
Yeah, we see you guys next week. Don't, you know, expect this ready by next week, because it's not going to be ready by next week.
No.
We are probably going to do something else next week that we don't even know what it is yet.
We are still waiting for the support for the engine to be ready. It's still not done. They are still welding. We still need to galvanize it, so the engine is not in place yet.
Yeah, sometimes it's tricky when you're not doing everything, because you depend on other people's time. And right now with the pandemic, everyone's buying a boat, so everyone is so busy. Like the welder, he's like, I'm gonna take 2 weeks to do that. That's it. I have a lot of work. I have other projects that I need to do, and we need to wait. There is nothing we can do. We just need to wait and be patient and do something else while we wait.
Wait with us.
Yeah, just be patient with us. We promise you, we are working really hard. We work 7 days a week to go to the water and go sailing. But life is life. You know, like sometimes it's not as fast as we wish, and sometimes the day doesn't have 48 hours as we wish.
Here we go.
Yeah, wait, sorry. See you guys next week.
See you.